It is now time to take a little video practicum on what you've just learned about sex, about gender, about ancestry, about race, and putting it all together and being able to demonstrate that you kind of know the degree of malleability of the human physical form. We will start with question 1. I want you to determine the biological sex of this pelvis and then explain why you think it is either biologically male or biologically female. Look at the overall shape of the pelvis. Is it more V-shaped or is it more W-shaped? Look at the subpubic arch. Is it more triangular or is it more arched? That should tell you what the biological sex is. How about this one? Question 2. What is the biological sex of this pelvis? Is it biologically male or biologically female? Look at the shape of the innominate. Are they more V-shaped or are they more W-shaped? Look at the subpubic angle. Biological males have a triangular one. Biological females have an arched one. Determine the biological sex of this pelvis and spend a sentence or two explaining your answer. And again, let's put these two side by side. There's the pelvis from question 1. There's the pelvis from question 2. One of them is biologically male. One of them is biologically female. And explain why you think that. Let's move away from the hip bone and talk about the head bones. Question 3 is, what is the biological sex of this skull? Well, what are we looking at? We're looking at brow ridges. I can see brow ridges. We're looking at the overall shape of the skull. Is it more robust or is it more gracile? We can look at the jaw. Is it more robust and angular or is it more gracile and curved? But especially we should look at the mastoid process, which is there. A large and pronounced mastoid process is most commonly associated with biological males. Is this a biological male or did this belong to a biological female? Determine that and spend a sentence or two explaining your answer. Number 4, what is the gender of this skull? Look at the skull and tell me if it's a man or a woman. Look at the skeletal traits. Are there brow ridges? Look at the mastoid process. Look at the overall shape of the skull. Is it more gracile or robust? Look at the jaw. Is it curved and gracile or angular and robust? And let's put these two skulls side by side. Biological male, biological female. Which is which? Answer these questions. Now we're going to go to question 5. This is the fun one. Ancestry. Look at that skull right up above my head and determine, look at the craniofacial attributes. Does that skull share ancestral traits with populations from Europe, populations from Africa, or populations from Asia? Try to determine the ancestral traits associated with that skull and explain why you think that. Look at the orbits of the eyes, the shape of the nasal cavity, the curve of the skull, the overall shape of the mandible. Determine the ancestral traits present in that skull, write them down, and prepare to enter all of those things in the quiz, which is like it's on the next page.